Hello, welcome. We're going to go ahead and go into muscles today. So, this is in strand 2. So, we will just get her started. Okay, starting with function. So, let's just talk about muscles real quick. And I'm going to talk to you about an experiment that I did when I was in college. So, this was for a zoology class. And basically, what happened at the beginning of the class is they gave us a mouse and they gave us a frog. And with those animals, they basically said, we want to show you how different they deal with temperature change. So we took a frog and we put it in a little container and we submerged it into ice. Sploosh. And when we did that, the frog got super still. Like it actually just got really lethargic and just sat there. And I kind of thought, like, did you just hurt the frog? I kind of felt bad about the experiment, to be honest. And then we pulled it out, and once it was room temperature again, fine. The frog was fine. And then they were like, "Well, try the mouse now. Let's go ahead and try the mouse." So we put the mouse in the container, put it into the ice bath, and the mouse actually went berserker. It was like running all over the place, dealing with the cold. And then they said, okay, that was cold. So you can kind of see how this animal deals with it and that animal deals with it. Now let's try putting them in kind of a sauna environment. So we took the same animals, took the frog, stuck it in the container and put it in like this hot box, I guess we call it, like sauna-like environment. Stuck him in there, and the frog, like the mouse before, went berserker and started just bouncing all over the place when it was hot. And when we stuck the mouse in there, in the container, in the little sauna thing, the mouse just sort of meeped out. It was just super chill. So kind of the idea behind that, they were showing the differences between what's an ectotherm, how do they get their heat, versus a mammal, which is an endotherm, and how do they get their heat. And so we're like the mouse, obviously. We produce the heat from the inside. So our muscles, when we contract them, we will actually kind of dilate the vessels, bring blood flow to that area, and that produces heat. So like the mouse, when we're in a cold environment, we'll shiver. We shiver, that will bring blood flow. So heat production happens through the muscular system. Okay, second thing is we have these pulleys and levers, because remember we have the skeletal system that we just finished with, and one of those functions was movement facilitation. Well, one is not going to work without the other. So this is like the perfect Romeo and Juliet story. It's like skeleton and muscles together, we get movement. We actually can pull like a puppet, like that little leg I showed you in class. When we pull on this muscle, we should see this action, that kind of a thing. So just know that the muscles are the pulleys and the bones are, I mess that up, levers, pulleys, the bones and the muscles together, we get movement. So muscles only pull, but when they do pull, they actually move a bone. So that's just the way it works. Okay, structure or postural support, kind of think in the abdomen region particularly. So remember I was talking to you about the kid that was like, why don't we have bones all the way down for armor if we have armor like here? And then we were speculating, like, because we would move like this, and like how would we get the Apple Jacks up there? So yeah, we'd have to have a completely different shelf for like our cereal. But if you think about it, we have to contract the muscles to keep us upright. And every time you take a step forward, you're activating somewhere around 200 muscles just to take a step forward. So that's having to do with your structure, your posture, trying to keep us in alignment. We have to activate those muscles in order to do it. Okay, the next one is protection of internal organs. So think where your intestines sit in your abdomen, and we drew all of those different muscles that are in the abdomen. When we drew it, you could see that the transversus abdominis was deep, and then we had internal, external obliques, and then the rectus abdominis. And all of that musculature is there as kind of a soft armor for those intestines in your abdomen. So protection of internal organs. And then we'll talk about different types of muscle. We're talking about controlling volume in hollow organs. We're talking about smooth muscle. So smooth muscle is going to be what in the intestines, when we swallow food and it goes into our esophagus and then our stomach and then squish through our intestines. The squish part, wherever there's a hollow organ, that's lined with smooth muscle that's going to help to move whatever it is that it needs to move. So in the intestines, it's going to be food and nutrients. In the blood vessels, it's going to be the blood cells and getting blood to different areas of the body. So all of those kinds of hollow organs have that smooth muscle to kind of help regulate the volume inside. Okay, so types of muscle. The first type we're going to talk about is cardiac. So this is kind of showing you maybe a little bit cartoony version of the cell for the cardiac muscle. So they are branched cells and they're stripy. So they have this appearance of stripes on them, and they can have one nuclei per cell or two. So one or two nuclei in each cell. So the stripy appearance means it's striated. And that just kind of suggests that it contracts the way that it's striated. And then for the most part, this one's involuntary. So that's fortunate, because we would have to sit here and go, heart, beat again, beat again, beat again, which would be super obnoxious and kind of a stupid existence, I think. So fortunately, I can sit here and talk to you and not have to worry about heartbeat. But there is a little bit, I would argue there's some control, because I've had patients come in and they're nervous. I get them on the table, I put the EKG leads on, and they're at like 120 beats per minute and they've done nothing. And I'm like, hey, you nervous? And the patient will a lot of times say, yeah, I am. I'm really nervous. So I will actually kind of dim the lights. I'm just going to turn on some little classical music, dim the lights a little bit. You'll be in this room alone. I want you to just focus on your breathing and just try and regulate your breathing. And inevitably, I'll come back in. They will have relaxed, kind of breathe through it a little bit. They can from that 120 beats per minute, they can come back down to like 60 beats per minute just by controlling their breathing. So there is some control for the cardiac muscle, just not much. Okay, and it's found in the heart. Anytime you see cardio or cardiac, that's going to refer to the heart. Okay, smooth muscle, if you look at the individual cells, they kind of look like eyeballs to me. So it looks like kind of here's the white part of the eye, and here's like the iris and the pupil and everything. But they're smooth. So if you look at it, it doesn't appear to have striations on it under the microscope, and it appears smooth. So that's why they call it smooth muscle. So we find these in all of our hollow organs. And if you think about what we're like inside, our blood vessels, our intestines, our bladder in the urinary system, a lot of hollow internal organs, and those need to be lined with smooth muscle. And like I said, not stripy here. We're not on the stripy side. And this one is also involuntary, although if what you focus on, honestly, you can control to an extent, what your heart and what your breathing rates are doing. So because smooth muscle lines the blood vessels, and we can actually bring that, we can bring ourselves into a more calm state. There is some element of control, just not much control. Okay, and this is the one that we're talking about when we're actually going, which muscles are these? The latissimus dorsi, the deltoid, all of these different muscles, they're skeletal muscles. So they attach right to the bones. Okay, so you can see this is just big ham coming off this piece of meat, or this bone, this piece of meat coming off of this bone. They attach via a tendon. So this is connective tissue that will actually come off of the bone and become muscle. So attached to bones, so we know that we have pulleys and levers again, and they are stripy in appearance. So this isn't a microscopic view, but if you kind of look at even this picture underneath, because this is showing you skeletal muscle, you can kind of see how it has like a striped appearance. That's striated, and it's gonna suggest that the way the muscle fiber runs is the way the muscle contracts. So in the biceps brachii, the fibers run basically superior to inferior, and when they contract, it's going to give you flexion at the elbow. So it's almost like a puppet. I'm pulling a string, whoosh, and that's how that muscle would work, if that kind of makes sense. So stripy appearance, and this one we have voluntary control. So for example, if I'm like, right now I'm feeling jazzy hands, I did that under conscious control. It's really rapid that I can do it. If I want to just do something with my hands or my arms, I can just decide and make it happen. But it's something that we have voluntary control over. So that's skeletal muscle. I will give you the muscles that we are meant to know. This is obviously very inclusive. We have like 640 muscles, so we're not going to get anywhere close to understanding all the muscles that are out there. And in fact, I don't know all the muscles that are out there. I could, if you give me the name, a lot of times I can pick out where it would be, but I don't know that you necessarily need to know every single muscle. It'd be kind of a cool trick, I guess. But I will flag you for what you need to know, what you need to remember. We'll stop there in the notes. Stop in the notes, turn it in, okay? That's like an exercise in following directions. I want you to turn in what you have. Don't complete it. We'll turn it in later, okay? And have a great day.